Okay, let's start this module by you understanding the brain's #1 job is survival. To put it simply, if your brain feels safe, then you are going to move effortlessly with confidence and without pain. So on the flip side, when your brain does not feel safe, then it's going to hinder your movement because your brain simply wants you to stop moving and just lie down and whatever you're doing that's so threatening, just to please stop it. Now, there are numerous reasons as to why the brain might find something threatening. And since this is a balance course, I figured let's just use the inner ear as an example. You are out with your friends hiking. Your own internal GPS system has essentially 3 satellites. Satellite #1, your visual system. Super important as this input helps you track and see and confirm where you are and where you're moving through the world. Satellite #2 is your inner ear, aka your vestibular system. Within this is your internal navigational system. This satellite's really important as it's going to tell you where you are in space, let alone how you're moving through the world. And satellite #3 is about your body awareness. This is also known as your proprioception. Your brain has a map of where you are in space. That ability for you to brush your teeth without having to look in the mirror or feed yourself without having to watch yourself insert the fork into your mouth, that's just your brain's map of knowing where you are so it can move efficiently. When all 3 satellites are working, your brain checks in and says, I know what's going on, I feel safe, let's move forward. But all of a sudden, for some reason, one satellite, let's use your inner ear, just stops functioning. Your brain is no longer getting a clear message about how you're navigating through the world. And not having a clear vestibular input to the brain, well, it's kind of scary. One of your GPS trackers is off and the alarms begin to sound. So understand this, when your brain does not feel safe with your movement due to, let's say, one of your satellites isn't functioning that well, then the brain is going to pump the brakes. It is going to get you to stop moving any way that it can. Because in a nutshell, all of a sudden, this hiking trip just got threatening. Now, the ways in which the brain pumps the brakes can be through pain. Nothing will pull you over faster than your knee or your foot starting to hurt. Weakness, fatigue, tightness, and even a bad attitude. Oh, this is getting really hot. I'm not comfortable anymore doing this hike. All of this is an output that the brain creates to get you to essentially pull over. Okay, so now why is this so important to understand? Because when you begin to learn more about your nervous system, you begin to understand the connection of brain to body. And to keep it simple, your brain dictates your movement. So we start thinking a little more broadly. When you learn your nervous system, you no longer think it's just the knee. As you're going to start to learn, you can start thinking, maybe it's one of my satellites, maybe it's my inner ear, maybe I should train my inner ear real quick, and then my brain will say satellites back up and I can continue on my hike pain-free. Please understand that when you are not moving well, when you experience pain, when you feel like the brakes are on, consider the brain. Look at the whole picture. And of course, now I'm going to make things just a little more complicated. I was talking about those 3 satellites. That's a huge component of it. Honestly, this is really, really important to take into consideration when the brain is pumping the brakes. However, there's a bucket of reasons as to why the brain might feel threatened. Like literally, this is called the threat bucket. In the threat bucket, you're gonna see here your emotional experiences, your stress, maybe something's going on with work, maybe you have poor breathing patterns, visual issues, balance, inner ear deficits. Understand that this is a whole list of reasonings. And in this bucket, we've got to take into consideration your brain, your nervous system, it can tolerate quite a bit. However, when we start adding more and more to that bucket, at one point it's gonna start spilling over. And when it does, that is our brain telling us, I can't handle this anymore, I'm feeling threatened, I've got to put on the brakes. So you're gonna receive that output of pain, of tightness, of weakness, of hesitation, fear, whatever it may be that's hindering you. This is your threat bucket reaching its maximum. Okay, so in module 3 and 4, we work our way down those satellites. It's like, how do we look at the visual system? There's a whole module on just the inner ear because these are really big satellites to take into consideration. In addition to how our body is moving, so proprioception, we're gonna address the breath. We're gonna address your feet. All of this is gonna be a component of Why is that brain feeling threatened? But before we jump into all those exercises, you are going to have to learn how to listen to the nervous system as you are training, as your brain, your nervous system is experiencing those drills. And in the next few videos, you're going to learn just that. But before we carry on, let's go through just a couple takeaways. Takeaway number one, your brain's number one job is survival. Yes, round of applause, you did it. Okay, here's takeaway number two. Movement comes from the brain. Yes, very nice. 2 for 2. Here we go. Takeaway number three. If your brain doesn't feel safe, it's gonna pump the brakes. Yes, we're riding right next to each other. This is great. Okay, 3 for 3. Takeaway number 4 is you understanding that your experience of pain, weakness, tightness, any of these limitations, whether they are physical or emotional, is also coming from the brain. It is an output. This is a way of how your nervous system is communicating with you, sometimes much to our own demise. But it is something that we can work on. And takeaway number 5, always consider that threat bucket. Dig in, look around and see what's going on. Because when you are training out of pain, and yes, you can train out of pain and train into strength and ability, you want to consider those 3 satellites that I have right here, in addition to a whole other variety of stressors of the way we think about our body, our nutrition, how we breathe. All of this has to be taken into consideration, which is why in Bamboo Bodies, it's so important, because we're not just training to get out of pain through this one exercise. And I don't want you to see this program this way. You're learning the entirety of your nervous system so you can pinpoint what you need as a whole person as you continue to age, because we're not a one-trick pony. That health isn't just one thing, but we can start to listen to what our body is telling us and have these little warnings to say, I think I need to look into my threat bucket and see if I can drain it a little bit. I am really excited for us to dive deeper into this module. We've got a couple other videos, and it's going to help you better learn your nervous system, listen to your nervous system, and work with the nervous system so you can find the exercises that work best for you. I will see you guys in the next video.